Have you ever just felt a little out of sync with the rest of the world? You know, like you're running on a totally different operating system than everyone else? Well, you're not alone. So today we're going to dive into what is basically the owner's manual for the misunderstood mind. If you've ever felt like your brain is both your greatest superpower and your heaviest burden, then this one's for you.
All right, let's start with a little quiz. First question, is your desk, let's call it a landscape of creative chaos? You know, coffee cups, scattered papers. Other people might call it a mess, but for you, it's this complex filing system, and you know exactly where everything is.
Okay, how about this one? You're in an elevator, and someone hits you with the classic, crazy weather, right? And does some part of you just feel this physical need to vanish into the wall? It's not that you're antisocial, you crave a conversation with a bit more meat on its bones. Or maybe this is you. You swear to yourself, this time I'm going to be on time, but somehow you're always the one bursting through the door 10 minutes late, full of apologies. You feel terrible about it, but it just keeps happening.
And what about parties? Does a loud, crowded room feel like it's just draining your life force, but a quiet evening alone with your thoughts feels like plugging your phone in to recharge? It's not that you don't like people, it's just your own mind is already a party, so you don't always need the external noise.
And last one, is your online presence kind of minimal, maybe even a ghost town? Not because you're hiding anything, but because the whole idea of curating your life into a perfect little post just feels fake, like a performance. You'd much rather just live the moment than document it. Okay, if you said yes to, well, any of those, I really need you to hear this, loud and clear. You are not broken. You're not lazy, you're not selfish, you're not weird. Your brain is simply wired differently. And that wiring, yeah, it can be challenging, but it is also the source of your greatest strengths.
But let's be real for a second. Living with a mind like this can feel like carrying a heavy weight. This constant, high-level thinking, it can lead to some very specific kinds of struggles, like isolation, because you feel like nobody gets you, exhaustion, because your mind literally never ever shuts off, and this deep, nagging feeling of imposter syndrome, where you look at your own habits and just think, why can't I just be normal?
This analogy just nails it, doesn't it? You've been trying to run a Ferrari engine on regular unleaded fuel, and you're wondering why it's not acting like a Toyota. Of course it won't. These things you see as flaws, they aren't defects. They're just the operating specs of a high-performance machine. You just haven't had the right owner's manual until now.
So let's pop the hood and take a look at the actual neuroscience here. Why does your brain do the things it does? Because this isn't just about personality quirks, you know? There is a real biological reason for all of this. It's time to meet your hidden operating system.
The first thing you absolutely have to understand is something called the default mode network, or DMN for short. Now, for most people, think of it as the brain's screensaver. When you're not focused on a task, it just kind of kicks in and you daydream a little, think about your day, that sort of thing.
But for the unconventional brain, the DMN isn't a screensaver. It's a supercomputer that's always running complex background simulations. Research shows that in highly intelligent people, this network is hyper-connected and it's always on. This is the biological reason you literally can't just stop thinking. It's the thing responsible for that awful post-social autopsy, you know, where you replay every single conversation you had at a party. But, and this is a huge but, that same nonstop processing is what allows you to connect totally random ideas and have those amazing aha moments in the shower. It's a feature, not a bug.
So you can picture it like this. Your brain has these two major networks on a seesaw. You've got the DMN, which is focused on your internal world, your thoughts, your memories, and on the other side, you've got the task-positive network, or TPN, which is focused on the external world, what's happening right now. For a lot of deep thinkers, the DMN is just so heavy, it keeps that side of the seesaw pinned to the ground, pulling you inward and away from the present moment.
Now, when your brain is so busy with that internal world, it can take a toll on another key system, your executive function. Think of this as the CEO of your brain. It's in charge of the big stuff, planning, organizing, managing time. But when your DMN is constantly hogging all the resources, it puts a huge tax on the CEO. And when that system gets overwhelmed, that's called executive dysfunction. You get things like chronic lateness and disorganization. It's not a moral failing, it's a neurological traffic jam.
All right, now that we know a little bit about the hardware, we can start debunking some myths. Because let's face it, society has a pretty narrow idea of what smart or responsible is supposed to look like. So let's tear down some of those common judgments with some cold, hard brain facts.
Ah, this old chestnut. We've all heard it, right? Maybe from a parent or a teacher. A clean space means a clear mind. We're taught to see messiness as a sign of laziness, or worse, that you're just not that bright. But what if that's completely 100% backward?
Well, a study from the University of Minnesota found exactly that. They put people in 2 rooms, one tidy, one messy. The folks in the messy room consistently came up with way more creative and innovative ideas. That chaos on your desk isn't a sign of a disorganized mind. It's the physical reflection of a mind that doesn't think in straight lines. It's fertile ground for breakthrough ideas.
Oof, this one is probably the most hurtful myth of all, because it's not about your habits, it's an attack on your character. People think if you're late, you must think your time is more valuable than theirs, but they don't see the frantic, anxiety-filled scramble that happens before you even leave the house. Okay, check out this mind-bending fact from time perception research. Scientists asked different personality types to guess when 1 minute had passed. The organized type A people, they guessed at around 58 seconds. The more relaxed type B people guessed at 77 seconds. Think about that. You might not be bad at managing time. You might actually be experiencing time moving more slowly. Your internal clock is literally running behind schedule.
All right, this one's a classic. We're taught from a young age that muttering to yourself is weird, right? It's something we're supposed to hide because it's seen as a sign of instability. But the science tells a totally different story. Talking to yourself is an incredibly powerful cognitive tool. It's like using an external hard drive for your brain. When you say your thoughts out loud, you organize them better, you focus more intensely, and you solve problems faster. Geniuses like Einstein did it all the time. It's not a sign of madness. It's a sign your brain is running too fast to stay quiet.
Okay, so we've debunked the myths, we've peeked under the hood at the neuroscience. Now for the most important part, the practical how-to manual. Look, you can't change your basic wiring, but you absolutely can learn to work with it. So here are some real, actionable strategies you can start using today.
So to manage that hyperactive DMN, that inner supercomputer, you have to give it some boundaries. This is a game-changing technique from cognitive behavioral therapy. Instead of letting your brain ruminate 24/7, you contain it. Pick a 20-minute slot every day. When a worry pops up outside that window, you just jot it down and tell your brain, hey, we'll deal with this later. It trains your mind that there's a time and a place for overthinking, but it's not all the time. For anyone who dreads small talk, this is your secret weapon. You don't have to suffer through it. You can actually redirect it. The trick is to just listen for one little word or idea, a hook, and use it to ask a bigger open-ended question, a why or a how question. You can skillfully pivot the conversation from the shallow end to the deep end, where your brain actually wants to swim.
If you're someone who gets stuck in analysis paralysis, you're probably what's called a maximizer. You're trying to find the single, absolute, best, perfect option. The antidote is to become a satisficer, someone who just looks for an option that's good enough. The goal here is to save your powerful brain power for the truly big decisions. For low-stakes stuff like what to eat for lunch, give yourself 30 seconds, pick something, and move on.
And for my chronically late friends, here's your toolkit. First, just accept that your time estimates are probably wrong. Whatever you think, add 25 to 50% more time. Second, stop thinking about when you need to arrive. Focus only on your doorway time, the exact minute you have to be walking out the door. Get everything ready the night before to reduce morning chaos. And finally, change how you think about being early. It's not wasted time, it's a reward. It's bonus luxury time just for you. You see what all these tools are about? They're about making a fundamental shift. It's about moving from a place of seeing your mind as a problem that needs to be fixed to seeing it as a superpower that just needs to be aimed correctly. It's time to stop fighting your own biology and start embracing the way you're wired.
I really want you to let this one sink in. Your tendency to think deeply, your need for real conversation, your sensitivity, these aren't flaws. They are a highly advanced filtering system. This system automatically pushes away the superficial stuff and pulls you towards the people, the ideas, and the work that truly matters. It makes sure you experience the world in high definition.
So please remember this. Your messy desk, your need to be alone, your habit of talking to yourself, these are not your weaknesses. They're the exhaust fumes from a high horsepower mind. They are the side effects of a brain that is busy seeing patterns no one else sees, connecting ideas no one else connects, and solving problems most people don't even know exist. So now you have it, the beginnings of an owner's manual for your incredible mind.
The question is no longer, what's wrong with me? The real question, the only one that matters now, is what am I going to build with this amazing engine? Now that you understand your mind, how are you going to use it?